Hey there, speaker. My name is Jake Thompson. I'm the Chief Encouragement Officer and founder of a brand called Compete Every Day. I'm also a keynote speaker and author, and I'm incredibly excited to be here today with you as we talk about the Speaker Lab cohort. Before we dive into talking about the cohort, I want to tell you a little bit about my journey because I have a feeling you can relate, or perhaps you're at some of the same spots I am. I started speaking back in 2014 and 15, but unofficially, as I like to say. I would get asked by a local high school or middle school or the Chamber of Commerce just to come talk about our business. See, back in 2011, I'd started Compete Every Day by selling t-shirts out of the back of my car. And as the brand started to grow, more people were interested in that message. What was this idea of competing every day? How could we apply it? But I never gave it much thought until a few years later, after one of the events, a CEO pulled me aside and said, "I think you need to go do more of that." I didn't have a clue what it meant to be a speaker. I saw things on social media. I knew a little bit about people being on stages and motivational speakers and all this, but I had no idea that it was a business. I had no idea how to grow a career. I thought it just happened. And so I spent a few years trying to develop my story and my craft until I found the Speaker Lab. See, I met the founder of the Speaker Lab, Grant Baldwin, years ago at an event. And when I started to take this seriously and think I might want to be a speaker, Grant was one of my first calls. I went through the exact Speaker Lab program that you're going to be going through. I learned what it means to be a speaker, how to find your right audiences, what it means to prospect and find opportunities, and then what do you do once you get an opportunity? How do you capitalize on it and actually go from someone who just speaks here and there to having a business? I became a full-time speaker in 2019, finally earning enough money just to get by. In 2020, I doubled my book of business by the end of January, but as you can imagine, 2 months later, the world changed. I lost $70,000 in the snap of a finger when events started canceling, postponing, pushing off. I didn't know what to do. But like so many other speakers, I had to pivot to virtual. And so I figured out how to do the virtual platform, how to give a presentation, how to set up my camera, how to have my office set up, and do the whole experience I'm used to doing offline, online. Flash forward another year later, not only did my business continue to grow during the pandemic in 2021, but it tripled from 2021 to 2022. And this year, as of this recording in January of 2023, I've already hit almost 40% of last year's revenue this year, which means this year is off to a fantastic start. And I expect to over 1.5 to 2 times what I did last year in speaking income. And it's all because of the things I learned at the Speaker Lab. It's the processes and the systems that help me not only build the business, but continue its growth and sustained consistency. See, it's not about just giving one keynote. It's about how do I get booked again? How do I use one keynote to do another? How do I find a way to give a message that actually solves a problem instead of just tells a really good story? These are the type of the things that the Speaker Lab helped me do. And now I have the opportunity to help you with the same thing. See, I just recently partnered up with the Speaker Lab to work and coach this VIP cohort for aspiring speakers who not only want to build a speaking business, but grow it. See, I believe that if we can build an actual business that supports our dreams, we can create the life we ultimately desire. And like you, I saw speaking as an incredible opportunity to not only make an impact, but to create a lifestyle that both myself and my family could enjoy. I'm still speaking, I'm still traveling the country all over every single month. But what I'm also doing is investing time to work with speakers just like you on the nuts and bolts of the business. We're going to talk about what I'm actually seeing out there, talking to clients, delivering keynotes, what's working, what's not. Not things that worked maybe 20 years ago, but right here and right now. What is the latest? What's the greatest? What are my processes that make me effective to be able to talk to this group in one industry one day and the next day talk to a completely separate group? How am I able to manage all of that? And how can you do the same thing? I'm going to be personally working with you over the next 90 days with multiple online coaching sessions where we dive into all of the nuts and bolts of being a professional speaker. There's 4 key areas you can expect us to cover in the cohort. The first is clarifying your message. What is your message and how do we best deliver it? Second part is how do we translate that message into something the audience can take? See, how do you take that message to them both virtually, which we're going to cover because it's here to stay, and then the offline experience, the thing we're used to, sitting in conference rooms, sitting in training rooms. How do we deliver that message to them? The third thing we're going to cover is how do you sell that message? Everyone has a really cool story, but companies, associations, schools, they're not bringing you in for a cool story. They're bringing you in to solve a problem. So how can we help you do just that? And then fourth, how do we duplicate your success? It's not about getting one talk, but how do we grow our business with consistent booked gigs? This fourth point is worth the price of admission alone. Listen, anyone can give a good talk, but getting booked for talk after talk after talk, having a sustainable business that brings in steady income, that's something different. That's something only professional speakers do. And that's what you're going to learn how to do as well. So what would your career look like if you found a way to have consistent growth in your speaking business? How would it feel if you had a systemized approach to not only finding gigs, but once you landed them, delivering on them? How would it feel to have a coach and a high-touch support system helping you learn this process the whole way? And how would it feel to fast track and avoid some of the challenges that so many speakers get tripped up on early in their career? See, instead of having to go through the trial and error that people like myself, people like Eric, or other coaches had to go through, you're going to learn the things that we wished we had known then, the things we wished we had done then, the challenges that we didn't know were in front of us, and you're going to learn how to avoid them and shortcut your path to success instead of trying to figure your way through it. It's kind of like being in a room with the lights out. You can feel your hands on the wall. You can look around for that light switch. You can eventually find the way out, but you may stumble, you may trip, you may bang your knee up, you may get a little bruises or cuts. But what if somebody just opened the door and shined the light? What if somebody waved at you and directed, hey, the exit's over this way? You would be able to quickly get out of that room without hopefully tripping, beating yourself up, any of those other things that tend to happen if we're feeling around a room in the dark. See, a lot of speakers as they start their career are like that person alone in the room in the dark. They're eventually going to find a way to make it work, but how long is it going to take? How many times are they going to stub their toe or bang their knee? How long until they eventually get to that door when in reality, there's coaches out there just like myself who are willing to open the door, wave, point the light in their direction and say, come with me, let's go. It's a much faster process. And that's why this cohort is such an exclusive opportunity. But here's the catch. We only have a limited number of spots. The cohort is designed to be small so we can better get to know you, interact with you, and everyone has a much better, more rich and in-depth experience. And if we open it up to everybody. And so we keep these cohorts small for a reason, because we want you to maximize the value you get out of the investment you put in. Our spots sell out quickly. I'm not lying to you. I'm not trying to selling you. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. It's going to sell out quickly. So if you're a speaker who's never really gotten over that hump into growing your speaking into a true business, if you're someone who's just getting started and you have a message you have to get out to the world, or you've been doing this for a little while, but it kind of feels like you're riding a roller coaster because sometimes you have a lot of gigs and then you go months and months without one. I'm going to encourage you to join the cohort. Let's work together to dive in and talk about how we can build a sustained business, how we can get your message out to the people who need to hear it, and more importantly, how can you create the lifestyle and career you really want to have? The Speaker Lab is the exact program I used and implemented to build my business. It's what I learned. It's what I'm going to teach you. It works, but only for speakers who are willing to put in that work. I'm going to go ahead and tell you up front right now, you can't join the cohort, engage in the sessions, not do the work, and expect everything to happen. You're going to have to roll up your sleeves. You're going to have to get a little dirty. You're going to have to compete. But what I can promise you is that the things that we're going to talk about, the things you're going to learn, if you put them into practice, if you roll up your sleeves and get to the work, not expecting things to show up, but willing to go chase them down, the process we're going to talk about, the things I'm going to teach you will work for your business. There are over 1,500 events going on every single day that need speakers. 1,500 opportunities to speak. Could one of those audiences be the one that needs your message? Could multiple? Let's start working together in the cohort so we can get those audiences your message. We can work together to build the life you desire, but most importantly, we can help you make the impact on the people you're meant to serve. My name's Jake Thompson, speaker, author, chief encouragement officer at Compete Every Day, but more importantly, your coach here at the Speaker Lab cohort. I can't wait to work with you, so let's get to work.